Jalen Green and the Houston Rockets, the future of the organization, the franchise, it seems to be a lot more clear now ever since they was able to get that steal in the draft and Jabari Smith. It was a major steal that they was able to acquire. Give the Houston Rockets major credit, for just retooling this organization. This guy, Jalen Green, is going to be a problem. I really like him. This kid has got immense talent, so let's see what happens with this guy. I tell you what, there's a lot of talent in the Western Conference, so it's going to be hard for the Houston Rockets to break through, and somehow, emerge themselves as a contender again, because it's been a while since Houston was, really in championship contention. It wasn't so long ago. It could be a very long time before this guy gets another opportunity to showcase his talent. But Jabari Smith, man, this kid was a good talent out of Auburn. He put up 16 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. I like what the talent that the Houston Rockets have. Outside of Jalen Green, you got this kid, Kevin Porter Jr., who's a talent. He's a serious problem. I think that through the years with Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, and Jabari Smith, I think you got yourselves, a good nucleus. Kevin Porter Jr. averaged 15 points per game, shooting 41% from the field. We all know this guy can erupt for mega numbers. He also put up 6 assists, so he will move the basketball. In his short time, he only played 3 seasons. He went through an up and down situation in Cleveland, but in Houston, it seems that he's found a home. The Houston Rockets, they obviously lost Christian Wood in the trade to Dallas. You heard the news recently, actually just happened today. John Wall is moving on. He's going to the Los Angeles Clippers. So it's good that they was able to get him off their hands. But losing Christian Wood, a guy who put up, damn near 20 and 10, I think that's good that you was able to get your hands on Jabari Smith, to get that pick, that steal, and that's something that you needed. The kid is 6'10", you pretty much replacing what you lost, so Houston will be a problem. This is the kind of team that's going to be a threat in 4 to 5 years from now. Houston is not a destination that brings in free agents, so I don't see this process getting accelerated anytime soon. But nonetheless, man, Jalen Green is a problem. This guy, what I like about Jalen Green is his athleticism, and he can shoot. Him and Cade Cunningham is going to be linked for years to come. It's going to be similar to the other draft picks, that in the future, that has happened. They're just going to be linked up forever. They got some decisions to make on this roster. You got Eric Gordon. You seem to be moving on for some of these veterans. You got to find Eric Gordon a home, because it's time to just go straight up with the youth. Why can't the Houston Rockets compete in the Western Conference? Look, they were the worst team in the whole entire NBA. You understand? I'm not telling you that the Houston Rockets will somehow swoop in here and be a playoff threat. I'm just saying, why can't they compete with Oklahoma City? Why can't they compete with Sacramento? These are the questions that they could ask themselves. Being 15, how can they swoop up 4 spots, to get into the thick of things? How can they get in the 5 spots, to get competing for that playing scenario? What must change? You got a head coach in Steven Silas. We all know the owner, Tillman Fertitta. He was committed to winning under James Harden. Things didn't work out. He pulled the plug on everything. He fired everybody. So now this is the youth movement. This is what a rebuild looks like. They were lucky to lose James Harden and get their hands on a Jalen Green. That rebuild couldn't have went any smoother or better for organization. So give credit to that team, man, because they was able to rebuild in quick order. And it won't be long. Like I said, let's see how much Jalen Green develops. Because what if he goes into All-Star mode next season or the year after, and then it starts to accelerate? I think him and Cade Cunningham will be kind of neck and neck. So it's like whatever Cade is doing, whatever Jalen, I think they'll be eye and eye. I think they'll reach All-Star status together, around the same time. So it's gonna be interesting to see, man. Nonetheless, man, this is gonna be a good season, for this youth movement, in Houston. You know, Let me know your thoughts on Jalen Green and the Houston Rockets with Kevin Porter Jr. and the crew. Do you see them as a threat in 4 to 5 years from now? When some of these stars are gone, you understand, when some of the stars of today have retired or severely lost a step for real. So I think that's when Houston can emerge out the cracks and see what happens. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Let me know your thoughts. How good is Jalen Green in the comments section? Is he better than Cade Cunningham? Let me know your thoughts. How good is Kevin Porter Jr.? Do you like some of these guys on the Houston Rockets roster? How do you like some of these guys? They got Schroeder. They got Josh Christopher. They got a couple of different guys. Kenyon Martin Jr. Jashawn Tate. What do y'all like about some of these guys? Bogdanovich is there. They got Boban. They got Marquise Chris. Wendell Moore, Trey Burke. Let me know what y'all think about this talent on Houston. They're obviously years down the pipeline of being in playoff contention. So I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate y'all for checking in with me, man. It's Play Sports TV. Let me know your thoughts on the Houston Rockets. Nonetheless, it seems to be like the future is much more clear now. You see that what the pieces are in place. You see, okay, it's going to be Jalen Green. You see Kevin Porter. You see Jabari Smith. It's starting to get more. It's starting to get more visual. So Rockets fans, hold steadfast. You got yourselves a team of the future. Steven Silas is there. He should be able to build with your organization. You got good ownership. Let's see what happens. It's Flight Sports TV.